So, you're not sure what to bet. Don't worry, I gotcha. Welcome, football fans, gridiron gamblers, and degenerates. It's Mitch here with my Week 5 last minute best bets. Player props, totals, spreads, and everything in between. I'm going to help you bet on NFL Week 5 and make some money. If that sounds good, Gronk, spike the like button. And a reminder that if you want all of my NFL bets, the bets that I'm making with my real money, that's on Patreon. Link in the description. Link as the pinned comment in the comment section below, where you can leave your opinion on my bets in this video. Let's get started. And where I want to begin is with the London game. It's the early game, and if you're watching it, you might want to bet on it. And I understand. The total is extremely low, so you might not want to bet the under 36. Who really wants to do that? What kind of NFL fan wants to see the world burn betting an under 36? Not me. You know what I would rather do? I have never seen a quarterback to not throw an interception at a better number than Dylan Gabriel plus 165. I have never seen an interception prop with this good in terms of odds. Like, I have to bet it out of principle. All the guy has to do is not throw the ball to the other team. I mean, and Dylan Gabriel, when you think about it, if you guys don't know how he plays because you've never seen him and you didn't watch him play in college, he's extremely accurate, so the ball's going to go where he wants it to go. He's not erratic. He's not inaccurate. He has control over the football. He can move and he can get away from pressure that the Vikings will send at him. His passing yards prop is extremely low, and part of that is because the Browns won't throw the ball very much. So he's not going to be throwing the ball very much. When he does throw the ball, it's going to be accurately placed. The Browns have a dominant defense, which means that even as a rookie, Gabriel, who played 7 seasons in college football and the most starts in college football history, probably has a fairly decent understanding of how to manage a game. And understanding that he has Myles Garrett and maybe the best defense in football, he doesn't have to force the ball into tight windows. Now, of course, he's never played at NFL regular season speed, so maybe he tries a throw that he doesn't know is going to work, and that gets picked off. Of course, this is a little bit of a long shot because it's plus 165, but all he has to do is not throw the ball to the Vikings. I actually like this bet as a guy that likes Gabriel. I'm not going to be betting on him to throw touchdowns or him to go over in yards. I'd rather just him not throw the pick. And when you look deeper into his numbers, he never threw more than 7 interceptions in his 7 college seasons. Never more than 7. He had 3 straight seasons of 6 interceptions. That's it. Only 6 compared to like 30 touchdowns. And of course, his volume was pretty high in college football. And he only threw 32 interceptions in 64 college starts. That's a 1.5 interception percentage. That was actually 3rd all time if you put that in NFL standards. So the least interceptions in terms of interception percentage compared to attempts in NFL history is Jacoby Brissett at 1.4%. Actually a former Brown quarterback. And then Aaron Rodgers, I think, is 1.6 or 1.5. So he would be 3rd all time, that number from college. So I know that it's college and it's not the NFL, but this kind of just does show you that he doesn't really throw interceptions. So basically what the books are counting on is it's a really low scoring game. The Vikings send a lot of pressure. It's a complex defense. It's Brian Flores. He's just going to throw the ball to the other team. I'm telling you, he's probably not going to throw the ball very much. He didn't throw many interceptions in college. This is a ridiculously good bet in terms of the odds. And yeah, so I'm going to bet it. Plus 165 for Gabriel to not throw an interception. It's not my best bet, but it's a fun one. Okay, let's get to Sunday Night Football. And then we're going to get back to the regular slate of Sunday. Because Sunday Night Football is going to be my heavily invested game. I am going to be all over this game in terms of bets. I am going to be betting, and I already have bet the Patriots. I have them plus 8.5. I don't even mind just taking them now at plus 8. I might double down. I have Patriots to win, money line, straight out, whatever it may be. I think the Patriots and the Bills, this is going to be a great game. I think the Patriots are going to go toe-to-toe with Buffalo on Sunday Night Football, and they might even win the game. I love the plus 8, plus 8.5. But there are other ways to bet this game, especially if you don't want to bet the spread. So one way to bet this game, especially if you think New England can play with the Bills, is the Patriots to go over 20.5 points. That's their team total. I think they're going to score 24 to 30 points in this game. The Bills' defense, in my opinion, is a bit overrated. They can't really stop the run this year. They're last, I believe, in yards per attempt allowed on the ground. Yes, they do get Ed Oliver and Matt Milano back, I think, for this game. But they do have susceptibilities in the secondary. I also recall watching Drake May against Sean McDermott last year. And Drake May played very well against the Bills. It was one of the best games he played all year as a rookie. And the Patriots only lost by a field goal last season in Buffalo. Drake played really good in that game. If not for a fumble or whatever, some madness from the Patriots, they might have even upset the Bills in Buffalo. I think the Patriots offense is one of the most, if not the most underrated in football entering this game. They've looked better and better and better with each and every week. The only real downfall has been their own mistakes. And as long as they can avoid multiple turnovers, I think they're going to score 21 plus points. So I love Pats over 20.5. Another way you can play this is because it's likely the Bills will also score 20 points. They are favored by 8. Minus 105 for both teams to score 20 plus points. I gave this bet out for Chicago Raiders last week. That hit. This is a similar play on two teams that I believe will score in the 20s. The total is 49.5. I think the game will be close. So let's say the game is 24-23. It goes under the total, right? But you still win this bet. 20 plus points scored. I think it's very likely. So minus 105, think that's a great bet. Another way to go is Drake May scoring 1.5 passing touchdowns. This is a little bit more incentivized, plus 135 for him to throw 1.5 touchdowns. Drake May, currently, I don't know if there's a record or something going down, but Drake May has never finished a game where he hasn't thrown a touchdown. Last year, he was the only quarterback not named Lamar Jackson to accomplish that feat, and so far, he has continued that into this season. Drake May has been tossing touchdowns left and right. Last week, and in previous weeks. So Drake May, I think, again, I've been just preaching most underrated quarterback in football right now. There's also multiple Buffalo Bill receivers that are on the Patriots right now. Just think about that for a second and what that could mean for the revenge angle. Mac Hollins, Stephon Diggs. Just going to throw that out there. What if Josh McDaniels wants him to get a touchdown? Just going to throw that out there. But I like Drake May to throw for 2 touchdowns in this game. So, to recap that for the Patriots, Pats over 20.5 points. You could also play that with minus 105, 20 plus points for both teams. Drake May over 1.5 passing touchdowns on Sunday Night Football. And if you want to go all in on New England, take the plus 8 and maybe even sprinkle a little bit on the money line. But I'm expecting a good, close, higher scoring game, something like 28, 24, 27, 24, 30, 27, somewhere in that range. I would expect that type of game. I think it's going to be very entertaining. Now let's get back to the regular Sunday slate. There's 4 different plays or 3 different plays that I like on 2 different games. So let's get to those games. The Baltimore Ravens and the Houston Texans. I'm going to take Baltimore under 19.5. Now remember, I like the Texans in this game. I included them and the Patriots and the Browns in my spread section for my favorite spreads of the week. Houston minus 1.5 is one of my favorites. So, Ravens under 19.5. That's plus 100. You can also take under 18.5 points at plus 115. Now, some of these numbers will be slightly different. Some of the odds, depending on where you're betting, will be slightly different, but it's in that range, okay? Plus money for the Ravens basically to score less than 20 points, essentially. And when looking at the Texans so far, they allowed 0 points against the Titans, 14 to the Rams, who have one of the best offenses in football, 17 to the Jacksonville Jags, and 20 to the Bucks. So they've allowed 20 points one time this season. It was in Houston on Monday Night Football against Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Emeka Egbuka, Bucky Irving, a top 5 offense from last year. And it took the last drive of the game to get there. Remember, right? They had 13 for a majority of the game. Okay? So, Cooper Rush is worse than Matthew Stafford. He's worse than Baker Mayfield. He's probably worse than Cam Ward. And he's worse than Trevor Lawrence, even if you're down on Trevor Lawrence. Is Cooper Rush going to score more than 19.5 points? The Ravens also have a flawed pass protection unit. The Ravens, I think, have serviceable to good receivers. I really like Zay Flowers, but without Lamar's extension skills, deep ball ability, and his ability to elude pressure and find guys open outside structure, these receivers aren't anything special when they're covered by Derek Stingley and Kamari Lassiter. The Texans have a vicious pass rush, and they'll be all in on stopping Derrick Henry, which is the biggest threat to scoring points in this game. That's why I like the Ravens under 19.5 or 18.5, depending on your confidence. The numbers aren't all that different because the main primary scores in football, of course, would be 17 and 20. Just throwing that out there. I would also couple that with Derrick Henry going under 85.5 rushing yards. Derrick Henry has only gone over this number once this season out of 4 games. It was the first game of the season against Buffalo. Buffalo is currently allowing the most explosive runs in the NFL. Just throwing that out there. Houston has yet to allow a running back for the entire season to go over 85.5 rushing yards. A singular running back. That includes Kyron Williams, Travis Etienne, who's having a really good year. Bucky Irving didn't even get it done. Right? And then Tony Pollard. All backs that have been pretty consistent this season running the football. None of those guys had over 85.5 yards. In fact, none of them had over 80. So I like Derrick Henry under 85.5 at minus 110. I also like Woody Marks to score a touchdown, plus 165, which is the same as betting Dylan Gabriel to not throw an interception, plus 165. So I like Woody Marks to score a touchdown. He scored, 2 last week? A receiving and a rushing. He's clearly their lead back now. Baltimore has the worst run defense in football this year, and they are probably a bottom 3 defense in general. So anytime the Texans are within the 10-yard line, they could dump the ball to Woody Marks, hand the ball to Woody Marks. He's probably going to score a touchdown. Now, I think this is really good odds for him to get that done. They're also favored in the game. So I like Woody Marks to score, Derrick Henry under rushing yards, and the Ravens under in their point total, under 19.5. Now, let's get to another struggling offense. The Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles and Broncos game. I'm going to focus on the Eagles side of things. I'm going to take the Eagles under 21.5. That's plus 135. You could also, depending on what you want to do, if you're confident or not, you could take the Eagles under 21.5 or the Eagles under 24.5, but the odds are different. So 21.5 is plus 135. Under 24.5 is minus 135. I think it's strongly likely that the Eagles go under 24 or 25. So you don't get the plus money, the plus bet, right? The odds are not in your favor exactly or as nice, but it's pretty likely the Eagles don't score 25 points against Denver. They have the most 3-and-outs in football. They're bottom 5 in passing and rushing yards per game this year. The Eagles' offense is probably the most overrated unit in the NFL. They're not scoring points. They're getting points off of block field goals, block punts, and they're not moving the ball. And this is the best defense they've played all year. Better than Tampa, better than Kansas City, better than Dallas, right? Better than the Rams. The Broncos are basically the Rams defense with a secondary. That's basically what they are. This is one of the best defenses in the NFL. They have a vicious pass rush. They have a really good front four. John Franklin Myers, Zach Allen, Cooper, and Benito. They've got a good secondary led by the Defensive Player of the Year and a really smart defensive coordinator in Vance Joseph, who now has 4 weeks of watching this absolutely simple vanilla offense that Jalen Hurts leads. Saquon has not been running the ball the same. There's friction between A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Hurts. There's problems with the OC. I think if I had to bet one of these, I'd strongly bet the under 24.5, even if it's minus 135. Maybe I'd put a little bit as well on under 21.5 to get that plus money exposure. Also, A.J. Brown going under 4.5 receptions is plus 100. I know that A.J. Brown might be funneled more targets in this game because he's been complaining, but he is playing Pat Surtain. That's due to frustrate him and the offense. And A.J. Brown has gone under this number twice this year. He actually did catch 5 passes against the Chiefs, but it only went for under 30 yards. It was like 29 yards on 5 catches. It was disgusting. Right? So his only real good game was the Rams. Maybe they'll try throwing him screens and quick throws, and that will get him over this number. But you can't deny the sloppiness of this passing offense. At plus 100, this isn't bad because he has to catch the ball 5 times against Pat Surtain and the Broncos. So good luck. I mean, the other games he's played, Dallas did nothing. And last week, Tampa did nothing. Nowhere close to having 5 receptions. Another team that I think will go under their total is the Commanders. They play the Chargers. I like under 21.5 at plus 100. The Chargers are a really strong defense. So far, they've been top 5 at allowing the least amount of fantasy points to the run game, running backs. Terry McLaurin is not playing. The Chargers have only allowed, I think, 3 passing touchdowns this season. And I'm not even sure they've allowed more than 21 points this year. Maybe to the Chiefs. So maybe once out of 4 games. I didn't check that, but I could check that now for you guys. I'm almost certain they didn't allow that the other games. Let me just check. But yes, Jaden Daniels is back. We don't know if he's exactly 100%. Without Terry McLaurin, they lack verticality and they lack explosion. Deebo Samuel is also beat up entering this game despite playing in the game. They allowed the 4th least amount of points this season so far at 17.8, the Chargers. And last year, they allowed the least amount of points in the NFL for the entirety of the season. So this has been the best defense at allowing low point totals. Now, they allowed 21 to the Chiefs, which would still be under 21.5. The Giants scored 21, and the Broncos scored 20. So all these 3 teams all scored under 21.5. Okay? You could make an argument the Commanders have the best offense out of the bunch that they played so far. The Raiders only scored 9. The Commanders, You could make an argument this is the best offense they played, but it's not an offense that has Terry McLaurin. Noah Brown's also injured. Their receiving core is pretty depleted overall. So I think it's a decent bet to take the Commanders under 21.5. They would be the first team to accomplish that against the Chargers. It's also in LA. Okay. I also like how the Chargers defense matches up with the Commanders in terms of their middle of the field, sideline to sideline tackling ability with Henley and Derwin James and their ability to track down those screens and horizontal passing game that Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury love so much. Let's finish it off with a little bit of a long shot, I guess, but it's Jake Browning to throw 1.5 touchdowns against the Lions. I also don't hate the Bengals plus 10.5 this week. I think this is a little inflated, right? And I do think that the Lions, with both of their cornerbacks out, are going to give up some plays to the Bengals offense. So that's why I like Browning over 1.5 passing touchdowns. No Arnold, no DJ Reed. The Lions have a bottom 5 pass rush win rate defensive line, which means a limited amount of pressure compared to what the Vikings put on Browning in Minnesota, what the Broncos put on Browning in Denver on a Monday night. Those are two of the better pass rushing and pass defending teams in football. Detroit can be exposed without their cover corners, a team that likes to play man coverage against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So I think also the fact that Chase Brown and the Bengals can't run the ball and probably won't be able to against Detroit, and they'll also be chasing this game on the scoreboard against Jahmyr Gibbs, Jared Goff, and Amon-Ra. I do believe that Browning over 1.5 touchdowns where he tosses 2, 1 to Higgins, 1 to Chase, let's say, that makes sense to me. At a plus 150 price, I'd probably rather bet that than bet the Bengals plus 10.5. But I do think at home in a spot where they've been embarrassed 2 consecutive weeks, this just feels like a game where they're going to be able to hang around in a maybe more tightly contested, higher scoring game than people expect. Just going to throw that out there. I wouldn't make that official bet, but I'm just going to throw that in there along with the Browning over 1.5 passing touchdowns. There it is, guys. If you're looking for all of my actual real bets, including my teaser bet, including my top best bet of the week, that's on Patreon. Link in the description, link in the pinned comment. Check it out, guys. Thank you for watching, and good luck on all your bets. If you have any questions, also let me know in the comment section below. I will answer. Peace and good luck.